Okay, thank you everyone for coming and participating in this Greater Sacramento NAACP Voice for Our Youth. My name is Betty Williams. I'm the president of the Greater Sacramento NAACP, and I'm here because it's important, one, that you hear the community, from different facets on the issue, and then we're going to switch and have our young students come and speak their voice on what happened, and their parents as well. And then I will make the final statement, because I did have the opportunity to speak with the school district and the principal today, and so I want to let you know how that went as well. But it's important to me that you hear from our community. So I'm going to have them all have a seat, and then I'm going to ask LaMills to come up and bring the first point. LaMills is our political action chair for the Greater Sacramento NAACP, and very much involved in various youth and school activities when it comes to discrimination and racism. I have everyone, one at a time, will come to the podium so that they could be heard. LaMills?
I'd like to open up with saying the fact that we're here, the fact that we're having this discussion, simply means that white supremacy has yet again caused us to be in this.
You're wrestling with the papers.
Oh,
picking up
my apologies. Is that white supremacy has yet again caused us to be in a situation of reacting to instead of succeeding. And with that, I want to talk about systems of racism that have actually gone on to create the environments that we actually saw in this school and that we see consistently in other schools in the area. Systems of racism would actually have us be in a situation where non-black students gleefully request an N-word pass from their very few black peers, knowing they won't be held accountable throughout Roseville and Granite Bay. Systems of racism would have you where non-black students in Folsom get a laugh as they exchange text and social media messages of how much they're willing to pay for their black peers in an auction. Systems of racism would have it so that parents in Rockland defend a kid driving a truck with a Confederate flag to school, and then have the audacity to be angered by curriculum that actually reflects America's truth. Systems of racism would have it so that now we're dealing with kids at River Valley being compelled and intimidated black students into participating in a ritual that degrades them and mocks the horrors of slave auctions that so many of our ancestors faced. And these systems of racism then create the school environments that we then have to have this meeting today. So instead of restorative practices in the Sacramento area, we've gotten exclusionary policies. And those exclusionary policies are such that in Sacramento County, with about 30,000 students, managed to suspend more black kids for defiance than Los Angeles County, which has well over 100,000 students. These same systems would then have Elk Grove Unified and Sacramento City Unified combined to suspend more black kids than Alameda Unified and Los Angeles Unified combined. The Sacramento Kings might want, to get that formula to beating the Warriors and the Lakers, I guess. But beyond that, Sutter County Office of Education led all districts in the state with a suspension rate for black students of 30.8. And it goes without saying that that is the exact area where River Valley is. So as maddening as these situations are, unfortunately, I'm no longer surprised, as it's become all too common within our local schools, within our local school districts, that we're dealing with this. However, it's all too often too quiet. The districts deal with it inside. We don't have media asking questions consistently about the population of the administrators, about the population of the teachers, about how issues are being dealt with proactively, about how are other schools within the Sacramento area actually addressing the very issue that's happened at River Valley, because we are quite certain it's happening at their schools as well. So for those of you who are holding the cameras, who are asking the questions, we ask you to go ask those questions. Go hold those schools accountable. And especially in our suburbs that hold a very large clout for what they get in terms of media attention, especially around sports and academics, but then ignore the very students that are actually there who need their support most. So with that, I'll close and turn it over to who it is.
Can you spell your first and last name?
Lamills, L-A-M-I-L-L-S, Garrett, G-A-R-R-E-T-T.
Thank you, Lamills. Next, we have our mental health provider, which is normally Daphne. We'll have Daphne raise her hand, but Daphne lost her voice. So we're going to have our first Vice President, Lamone Harrison, speak, who also has a mental health degree and credentials. Ardell?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm Ardell Lamone, the first Vice President of the NAACP, and I'm standing here with Daphne Gauthier. She is our special mental health specialist, and she has laryngitis, so I'm just going to be her voice today. So we're going to keep it going. This was prepared by her. Trauma is defined as a person experiencing distressing or dramatic experience or events. Many African Americans experience trauma throughout our government's systemic racism and manifests in ways of discrimination. When a person is traumatized, their experience reflects upon their mental health, but they can reflect into different types of mental health disorders, such as anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder, better known as PTSD, or other mental health disorders. The TikTok video displays does not or cannot only affect the boys in the video, but the African American community as a whole. Just seeing what was displayed can cause anxiety and depression for a person, or PTSD, because such events such as these can trigger due to previous distressing events. Mental health in the African American community is already challenged, but most African Americans who deal with these systemic racisms every day are not realizing that they are traumatized because it has become a norm for them. Not having the same rights as other Americans in the country and being treated differently only perpetrates continuous mental health disorders. And until we as a country begin to talk and address these concerns, it is when we can begin to heal as a country. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice. At this time, we're going to hear from our faith-based leader, one of my favorite faith-based leaders, Pastor Dr. Reverend Joy Johnson.
Thank you, Betty. And for your recording, I am Reverend Dr. Joy Johnson. I am also the president of Sacramento Black Clergy Fellowship. I am so glad to have been asked to come and speak what I hope will be an uplifting, joy-filled, and even hopeful word to young men who will be leaders, who are leaders now and who will be leaders of our tomorrow. Question for those of us in the faith-based world is this: how does the weight of this incident call us, the black faith leaders of our region, faith leaders who walk in the heritage of sacred storytelling? We are those who tell the stories of hope and perseverance. It was this type of storytelling that got our people through crisis after crisis after crisis. It was this type of storytelling that got us through the trauma. We believe, we, the Black Clergy Fellowship, believe that this incident calls us, not these young men, calls us to engage or re-engage with our communities, to teach our culture, to teach the social history of violence, and to teach the social history of violent acts of lynching. This incident reveals our comfortability with violence. It reveals how comfortable we have become. Our teaching of our faith and our perseverance has failed to expose violence for what it really is. It's not something to be played with. Violence is violence. Whether it is gun violence, violent speech, portrayal of mock violence, it is still violence. And when we ponder what it is that would lead our own people to participate in our own destruction and celebrating that destruction, we can only conclude that the faith leaders have gone to sleep at the wheel. We are the ones sitting in the seat now. And Proverbs, the book of wisdom, tells us that God stores up sound wisdom for the upright. God is a shield to those who walk uprightly, and our God guards the paths of justice and preserves our way. Then we will understand righteousness and justice, equity, and in every good path. So we, the faith leaders, are called to understand righteousness, justice, and equity. And we believe that the repair and the restoration of our communities depends on us returning to truthful and faithful storytelling. Storytelling that will build bridges between our various communities. Storytelling that will build bridges between where we are now and where we used to be. That will build bridges for where we are now and where we aim to go. So we join in this same community leadership as our ancestors did. This community leadership role of storytelling is what we are going to get back to. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Pastor Joy Johnson. Last but not least, we're going to have a few words by our Legal Redress Chair, Justin Ward, on just a brief piece about how things like this can lead the prison pipeline through the educational system. Justin?
So what I would say about what occurred at the school is definitely unfortunate. What is also unfortunate is that these young men have been marginalized, right? They've been taught that they were like a slave, and the slaves had no value, right? They had no rights, and that's how these young men were treated. That's how often the young men and women, African American men and women who are in prison today or in jail today, how they felt, which led them to the crimes that they've committed, the acts that they've committed that led to them being in custody. And so it is our hope and our goal and our task to prevent that from happening to young men in general and these young men specifically. And that's what we hope to make happen here today and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. So at this time, I'm going to ask a switching of the guards. I'm going to have the young men come up with their parents and to take a seat at the table. And while they are preparing the switch, they will they have prepared statements that they have worked on. You can come on up. It's important that you see their faces, that you connect with them to see that these are our young youth, that it's beyond just the video. It's beyond just the narrative that has been created. And so at this time, if everyone is seated and ready, we're going to have Dante Walters will be speaking on behalf of the family, and then you will have everyone introduce themselves, and then we will go into the statements in the order of Marcos, Adrian, and Alex. Dante?
Hello, my name is Dante Walters. I'm the father of Marcos and Adrian, as well as the longtime family friend of Alex and his parents. I'd like to thank the assembled members of the press for gathering here today to hear our statements and the members of the NAACP, in particular President Betty Williams, Vice President Velma Sykes, and Executive Lynn Berkeley Baskin for their support and guidance. We are acutely aware that many wish to hear what our children have to say, and to that end, they will be reading their self-prepared statements, after which I would also like to provide the collaborative statement we have prepared as the parents of Marcos, Adrian, and Alex. Marcos.
Hi, my name is Marcos. I'm a junior at River Valley High School. I want to thank the NAACP for this opportunity to talk about my experience. I was a member of the varsity football team and one of the football players in the video. I am here today because I want people to know I am sorry. I apologize to anyone who I may have hurt or offended, including my teammates, my family, and my community. Part of me knew it was wrong when it was happening, and I didn't have the courage to stop myself or my teammates, and I wish I would have. I hope I would have the courage to stop something like this if I saw it happening in the future. I am personally going to work on getting a better understanding of other cultures and their histories. Thank you for hearing and taking time to listen to what I have to say.
My name is Adrian Walters, and I'm a sophomore at River Valley. I appreciate everybody for being here, and I understand the video was out of pocket and hurtful to people, and I wish to apologize that I was part of it. When the video was made, I was not feeling good about it, and I just froze, and I just wanted to get it over with so I can go to practice. I did not want the video to be posted or nothing like that, so I asked him to delete it. I did not want to do it, but looking back, I wish I should have done more to stop or leave it. I have some maturing to do, and I'm working on that. Being a part of the team and playing football is very important to me, and I am hurt that the school moved so quickly to punish us instead of taking their time to understand the situation better.
Hi, my name is Alex. I am a senior at River Valley High School and a former varsity player on the football team. I was one of the youth in the video. I want to thank everyone for being here today to listen to our perspectives on this topic. Although I am easily seen in the video, I was far from wanting to participate in it. Before the incident, I was getting ready for football practice as usual, so I was already in my underwear. They needed another person to be in the video, and being the only black kid left in the locker room, they all turned to me. I had made it clear that I didn't want to do it and try to leave, but wasn't able to. So to get them off my back and start bugging me about it, I gave into the peer pressure I was facing at the moment. I would also like to add the fact that I had no idea that it was being recorded until afterwards. The other players and myself told the person not to post the video. He assured us that he wouldn't. However, after practice, we come to find out that he did in fact post it without our consent. Now I would like to apologize to everyone that was hurt and offended. After the situation, I want to take a step back and reflect. I want to learn more about my culture and how I hurt the ones in my community. This video is harmful to the entire black community, who counts on people like myself to stand against these wrongs rather than participating in them. I will work harder to become more like those people and help instead of hurt my culture and community. And I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to listen and hear our perspective. And a huge thank you to the NAACP for your support and help through this experience to get our story out.
Pardon my wrestling. We have chosen this time to come forward, as it was our hope to work directly with the school to develop more appropriate accountability, a better plan to restore our children to school, and mitigate further harm. We have implored the school to slow their investigation before rushing to hasty decisions. It has been our wish that they seek support and guidance from other community agencies who better understand cultural competence and the assiduous nature of racial cultures. Agencies like the NAACP, in order to better understand the circumstances of the situation. Unfortunately, our requests have gone unanswered. What the public has seen in the video or as read in the school's press release, does not wholly encapsulate who these children are or the incident that occurred. Though we believed we had instilled in them a pride of culture and self and prepared them with the knowledge and lessons necessary to navigate these situations, clearly, as parents and educators, there's still work to be done within our homes and our community. We feel it is important to remember that while our children may possess the physical stature of grown men, they are in fact still children. And despite our best efforts to provide positive guidance throughout their lives, children, even young adults, make mistakes. And this was a big one. Accountability for mistakes is important. So are environments that embrace restorative practices instead of condemning. Some mistakes are as simple as forgetting to take out the trash or turning your homework. Others, such as the incident of record we discussed today, cause harm, something we as parents will continue to address privately.